So my name is Jose Pimienta. I am the author-illustrator of Twin Cities, and we are here at the Random House, Penguin Random House, and Random House Graphic Imprint.
And tell us a little bit about Twin Cities and the genesis of the project.
So Twin Cities is the story of these twins that graduated from 6th grade, and they live in the border city of Mexicali, Mexico. And they decide to go to different schools. Teresa decides that she wants to study in the American side in the city of Calexico, while Fernando decides that he wants to stay in Mexicali and continue his education there. And from there, the schism between them begins, and they start discovering different influences and different cultural aspects that is making their life starting to take different paths.
And you're from a border city, correct?
I am from Mexicali, Mexico, specifically, where the book takes place, yes.
So how did your personal experiences influence the themes that went into the book?
The whole way through. As someone who has been making comics for a while but has only relatively written literally a couple of books, so far I've had a very strong interest in writing about my hometown, just because I'm interested in writing more about my background and things that I'm interested in. So my first book also took place in Mexicali, and then Twin Cities took place in Mexicali, just because I think that it's a very interesting city, and it's a city that has all this culture clash between American pop culture and Mexican traditions and Mexican pop culture and certain American customs. So I just think that it's like a very fascinating overlap and clash of things that I wanted to see how I can work that into a story. From there I just started pulling threads, and I started creating the characters based on previous experiences, based on my relationship with my siblings, and based on my relationship with my friends, and so on. So yeah.
Do you remember the comic that got you into comics?
Specifically, no. I remember being very drawn to comic strips as a kid, just because even from toddler age, it just seemed very fascinating that there was this mixture of words and pictures. And when I found comic strips in the newspaper, that just seemed like, oh, these can be consecutive, these can be stories. And then eventually I found floppy books, like the superhero stuff, and then I just keep finding more and more things. But the one comic that got me into comics, I can think of a couple, but I wouldn't want to give them too much credit. So Dennis the Menace, Non Sequitur, Henry, The Phantom, a lot of stuff that was in the newsprint that was kind of pulp stuff. That's what got me into comics, but the things that kept me there, the classics, Calvin and Hobbes, Sids, a lot of stuff from places like Fantagraphics, Dan Klaus, and so on. So yeah.
Can you tell us about the process of finishing the book and also getting it published?
From which point, because it's multiple factors in there. So once I finished drawing the book, by this point, it already had a publisher aligned for it. So after finishing the book, we did rounds of edits and mostly grammatical and things like that. But since then, we've just mostly been telling people about it, advertising it, trying to find it a home, trying to get it into the hands of readers. The process has been fun. It's been talking to a lot of different people and just trying to figure out what in the right amount of words, what to say about the book in order to engage with potential readers. So does that answer the question? I think that's
sure.
Okay. Cool.
What's your age range for the book?
The age range, the characters themselves are 12 years old, so we think that the target specifically is around 7th graders, 8th graders, kids that are going in this very transitory stage of their lives, very difficult time. Age range, I would say middle grade or the middle school kids, but I've been told by adults that they love it too, so I'll take kudos for that.
What are you most excited for readers to discover when they get their hands on the book?
So many things. I think that the most exciting things, I'm gonna give a couple. One, I'm excited for people to get to see where I grew up, because I'm very proud of that place, and I love it, and it's wonderful, even though it's very hot most of the year. It's a desert. But in all, I'm also hoping that readers take away the experiences that when living through things that are difficult to explain, they're still very valid and vivid experiences. And especially because the characters themselves are at odds ends, living through this, this very specific thing where they're being influenced by multiple cultural elements and they're getting totally different perspectives on it. Both experiences are just as valid and just as reasonable and just as formative, especially during that age range. But as we all know, we're always growing as people, so I hope that readers take away the sensation that whatever difficulties we're going through, it's manageable and that we can always get better.
Okay, and where can we find you on social media?
So my Instagram is @thejoepi, that's @TheJoepi. I'm also on Twitter, which is @joepi or @JOEPI. I have a website, which is my name. It's josepimienta.com, where I post some of the pages of some books, and there's a little biography about me. And yeah, other than that, no, that's pretty much where I am on social media.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.